Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to Parinama Yoga Online. And this video is about my Ayur-Nutrition consultations. Thank you so much for trusting me to do your Ayurvedic plan. I'm deeply honored to do that. And I feel a great sense of privilege in serving you. So in this video, I want to discuss with you Ayurveda, specifically the causes of disease and the causes of health in both the gross and subtle bodies. The gross body meaning the physical body, the subtle bodies meaning our mental body, our mind, our energy body, etc. And other spiritual bodies that we don't need to discuss, but know that they're there. Basically, we have a physical body, energetic body, and a causal body. We're not going to go too much into that. We can talk about it in your consultations if you like. But there are subtle energies within and around the body that are often affected first by outer influences such as weather or the foods that we eat or undigested emotions or memories. It often creates disturbance in our subtle bodies before it manifests in a more gross way in our physical bodies. We're going to discuss a little bit about how this happens. So Ayurveda goes beyond the mere physical body itself. The goal of Ayurveda, the science of life, is to create harmony and balance, homeostasis, in not just the physical body, but the subtle bodies as well. Ayurveda is a sister limb of yoga, and the goal of Ayurveda is to create balance in the holistic human with a view to self-realization, illumination, enlightenment. And health is the great secondary gain. So from an ancient perspective, health was not the main objective of Ayurveda. The main objective of Ayurveda was to create balance in the body, mind, and heart so that self-realization or enlightenment may naturally blossom without effort. And health was just an added benefit. It was a natural offshoot of seeking the spiritual path. But often nowadays, as Ayurveda is gaining greater and greater acknowledgement and fame in the West, especially in America and Europe, most people are coming to it to balance their health because it's very effective in doing so. It's a very effective, alternative, complementary form of medicine to allopathic medicine. And it's not meant to replace medicine. You should be seeing your allopathic doctor for everything you're seeing me for. It's just that these things will address the whole person. It'll make you holistically healthy, holistically balanced, whereas allopathic medicine tends to treat a symptom. Here's a pill. Ayurveda tries to find the root causes of illness so that we can eradicate it forever, not just be popping pills forever. But in some cases, for certain health situations, we may need to stay on medication to stay healthy. And you should always, always, always see your medical doctor, your allopathic medical healthcare professional, and discuss with him or her what you're doing here. For example, anytime I offer herbal treatments to anybody, if you're on medication, you must clear my herbal recommendations with your allopathic doctor if you're taking medication. Because even very basic herbs that you find in your kitchen can interfere with medication, making the medication less effective or creating dangerous reactions in your body. So always, an Ayurveda consultation does not replace allopathic medicine. They are meant to work together to create the best, most effective, most efficient results for you. Again, as a review, there are 3 Ayurveda doshas. There's Vata, Kapha, and Pitta. Vata is made up of ether and air elements. Kapha is made up of earth and water elements. And Pitta is made up of fire and water elements. Everybody has all three of these doshas within them, but one tends to predominate and have greater influence over our bodies and our minds. And when that particular dosha that is dominant in our constitution, whenever it becomes exacerbated or built up to an extreme, trying to think of the best words to use that are kind of like everyday words, then that will be the one that tends to cause a physical symptom happening. It'll cause disturbance in the body, in the mind, or in our emotions. It'll make us want to ignore our meditation practices or our yoga practices. It'll make us want to skip the gym. Oh, maybe next week I'll go back. Oh, maybe next month. And then 3 years from now, we're still not going to the gym. So we want to identify with our Ayurvedic consultant which dosha is out of whack, is aggravated, and we want to put it back into balance. So from an Ayurvedic perspective, there is something called amma. And amma is poison or toxin or negative buildup within the body. Amma can be very physical, like cholesterol building up or plaque within arteries. Or it could be very subtle. It can be within the nadis, the energetic channels of the body, also known as meridians in acupuncture. It could be very subtle, emotional, energetic amma that blocks our nadis. In fact, emotions, from an Ayurvedic perspective, very much affect and cause disease and distortions within our body. People will often say, I'm worried sick. When you constantly are worrying, it causes stomach problems. If you're constantly in grief, it will cause lung issues. You'll have shallow breathing if you're depressed or grieving from the loss of something. Anger, whenever you are constantly angry, it begins to affect the liver. When you're constantly fearful or in a stage of anxiety, this affects the energy of the kidneys. So emotions very much create a very subtle energetic negative residue that blocks the nadis. And then from that subtle energy body, whenever it's not addressed within a certain time frame, it starts to take on the form or support the forms of physical amma within the body. The greatest source of amma, which is the building blocks of all forms of disease, is undigested food. Most of us, myself included, eat too much food. According to Ayurveda, only half of your stomach should be filled with food, a quarter of it with pure water, and the last quarter of your stomach should be open for circulation and mixing the food. Some will say the fourth quarter should be for air, which really just means vata or vayu. Vata rules movement, including moving the food to the digestive tract, etc., from mouth out of the anus, etc., from mouth to anus, the digestive tract. So the most important thing to do is to understand when I'm full. We shouldn't eat to just please the tongue. We shouldn't eat to appease our emotions or to stress eat, to forget about what's going on in life. We need to address our life and face it and create healthy barriers for ourselves and healthy habits. But we need to identify and eat when we're hungry. Am I hungry? I'm going to eat. Am I not hungry? I'm not going to eat. As I'm eating, when do I feel full? And start noticing what that portion size is that makes you feel full. If you are a yogi or a yogini, we tend to eat the same type of meal every day. I eat the same things every day because I know how it makes my body feel. I know that it provides me enough, it provides me with hunger satiation. It provides me with energy. When you eat the same types of foods and herbal supplements, you know that it doesn't give you an upset stomach or cause any disruptions in your digestion. So you know you're going to feel good, you're going to feel light, you're going to feel balanced internally. So yogis really tend to eat a certain portion of food, and they usually eat the same foods that work with it, that work for them, that do not agitate the mind but create a calm, pure, sattvic mind. If you eat too much food, you become very tamasic, which is heavy, and you start to get a little bit lazy, groggy, unfocused. And if you eat too many spicy foods or too many stimulants, coffee or tea, 1 cup, maybe 2 cups a day, it's really okay. As long as you're drinking at least 3 liters of water per day, it's okay. But too many stimulants, too much sugar, too much spicy foods, this tends to speed up our minds. Also, if you're a meat eater, consider eating no red meats and consider eating more fowl, chicken and turkey, or fish. All meats are rajasic, but red meat is both rajasic, meaning makes your mind active, makes your thoughts keep on going. You can never really have a quiet or a still mind if you're eating red meat. It's just a fact. All meats are rajasic, but red meat in particular is tamasic. It's very heavy. It's very hard to digest. It sits and it putrefies in the intestines. It actually rots before it passes out of your body. So think of the difference between eating a New York strip steak and eating some spinach. Which do you think will digest more easily and pass through the system? Which do you think will take less digestive energy? That's the idea. So the idea of being vegetarian isn't necessarily a moralistic precept. Everything has to die in order for us to live, right? Whether it's a carrot or whether it's a rabbit, if we're going to eat it, we've killed it. We've taken its life so that we can continue to exist. But different foods tend to create different states of mind. Fresh fruits and vegetables and whole grains tend to create a pure, clear mind. Sugar, stimulants, spicy, pungent foods tend to make the mind more active. Onions, garlic are rajasic. Some will say it's tamasic, but in my personal experience, I find them rajasic. They speed up my mind. And then there is tamasic food, which is any food that is processed, has too much sodium. Leftovers are tamasic. You should never have leftovers if you can help it. You should always cook just what you want to eat for that meal and try not to have leftovers. But if you do have leftovers, you need to eat it within 24 hours. Otherwise, it's considered tamasic and lowers our energy. But anyhow, I'm getting a little bit off topic. Amma, the main cause for amma, or toxic buildup in the body, or congestion in the body, or poison in the body, they call it all these things, is undigested food. So we want to limit the amount of food that we're eating and make sure that it's the best, most healthiest forms of food. We should really try to eat organic if we can. If you eat meat, it should be organic, free range, grass-fed. You want to have as few chemicals, no GMOs. You want to have very few additives or preservatives beyond just the very bare minimum to get the product to your table. Amma also comes in the form of pollutants, like air, soil, and water pollutants all go into our food. All plants breathe. They get their food from the soil. They get their hydration from the water we give it. And air, soil, and water all around the world are very polluted. So this is why we need to be active advocates for the environment, because whatever we as humans put into the environment, we literally eat in our bodies, and that creates amma, which are building blocks of disease. Organic foods, again, are very important. You do not want to be eating inorganic fertilizers, chemical fertilizers. And I understand that organic is expensive, but if you can get it, it's a good investment for your health. So when we do eat, we want to eat and drink with gratitude, with prayer. And you never want to eat when emotionally upset. If you are angry, if you are scared, if you are jealous, any negative emotion, you should not eat whenever you're emotionally upset. Wait until you calm down and then eat. Every meal period, you should have at least 30 minutes to sit and eat. You want to sit, you want to not be on your cell phone, not be watching TV. You want to be in good company that's actually relatively quiet. You don't want to be talking too much. You want to just sit in a space of comfortable, loving silence, of community. And either before or after the meal is the time to talk. But when you're eating, you should be eating. And you want to chew very thoroughly and very slowly. You want to appreciate the taste of your food. When I was a kid, my mother used to always say, "Oh, you're wolfing down your food. Did you even taste your food?" And a very important part of nutrition in Ayurveda is to taste the taste within your food, which would be sweet, sour, bitter, astringent, pungent, etc. All the 6 rasas or flavors of Ayurveda. You want to taste your food because it is the taste that partially balances the dosha. The same with the herbs. A lot of digestive tonics, for example, are very bitter. Bitter herbs often create balance in the digestive system. Cooling herbs like mint will help to cool down a pitta person and will help with acid reflux, etc. So also things that build up amma are excessive sleep or lack of sleep. During the process of sleep, we experience something called rest and digest. Rest and digest is when you sleep properly for 6 to 8 hours. You should get at least 6 hours of sleep, and you should not sleep more than 8 hours. If it's less than 6 hours, more than 8 hours, then you're probably creating amma in your body. Because if you're sleeping too much, you're not moving. And movement is one of the best things you can do to process amma out of your body, because when you move, you increase the likelihood of having a bowel movement. So you're releasing waste and amma from the body. Whenever you are moving, you are sweating maybe, so you can purify the skin, etc. So, and get different oils and dirts out of your skin, which are different forms of amma. When you lack sleep, you lack the rest and digest function. And then your food isn't becoming as well digested, and that buildup of undigested food in the colon creates amma, which can create blockages and indigestion and a lot of serious medical issues. One of the most simple things to do is to go for a walk or go to a gym according to your physical capacity. Take a yoga class, do something that moves your body. If you are not moving for at least 30 to 60 minutes a day, you are definitely building up sedimentary amma throughout your physical channels, which would be your arteries, your veins, any tubing of your body. For example, your esophagus, when your throat has mucus, your tongue has mucus, or you're always mucousy in the sinus cavities, that is a sign of indigestion. The amma comes back up the tract into the mouth and throat, into the nose. So we want to move, because movement moves the organs, moves the joints, moves the skin, moves all of our parts, including our digestive tract, and it pushes stuff out. And again, you want to really be drinking a lot of water. It is said that women should drink at least 3 liters of water a day, and men should drink 3.7 liters of water per day. And if you're not getting that, we should strive to get in as much of that as we can and work up to getting to the full 3 or 4 liters per day. Signs of amma in the human constitution. How can you know that you have amma? If you always have mucus or congestion in your throat and your nose, that is a sign that you have amma. Yeah. If you stick out your tongue in the morning and it has a thick white coating, that is amma. And that is why we do self-care of scraping the tongue. You want to wake up, brush your teeth and floss. You want to scrape the amma off of your tongue, because if you don't scrape your tongue, then what happens as you eat and drink and swallow your own saliva is that you're putting all that amma back down to the esophagus, creating more mucus in the lining of the esophagus, and you're just taking all of that mucus, that poison, that buildup, and you're putting it into your colon. So it's not a good thing. You want to take it out. So you should always scrape your tongue every morning to improve your digestion, your breath, and also bacteria and even mushrooms, fungus grow in our tongues. It's really nasty. So you want to be cleaning your tongue, because if there's bacteria or any kind of microbes in the tongue, you don't want to be swallowing that to increase the chances of becoming sick. But anyhow, signs of amma are clogged energetic channels. You don't have strength in your body. You feel like your limbs are very heavy. The legs, the arms, everything are very heavy. If you have indigestion, acidity, or acid reflux, there is amma in your body. A general lack of interest or motivation in life. You're not passionate about anything. You don't do anything. You don't want to do anything. That is a sign of subtle amma that is affecting the mind. You are exhausted even when you have more than enough sleep. That is a sign that you have a lot of amma in the body. So again, amma clogs both physical and energetic channels. It's not just the buildup of cholesterol in the body, etc., or plaque in the walls of your arteries, etc. It could be very subtle. Amma could be built up negative emotions, built up negative habits within the nadis, the energetic channels of our body. How do we eliminate amma from the body? Through sweating, through strengthening our digestive response in our body, through proper diet and proper hydration, regulated sunbathing, and through movement, that is exercise. Regulated sunbathing should be in the very early morning hours, from before 10 a.m., preferably before 9 a.m., because the rays of the sun are becoming very strong, unfortunately, due to the depletion of the ozone layer. So you want to sunbathe for about 10 minutes outside in the sun, preferably from the time of sunrise until about 9 a.m. You can sunbathe at sunset also, once the sun is going down, when the rays of the sun are more healthy, but that tends to wake up the body. The sun's rays have certain cosmic prana in it. And if you sunbathe at night, it might keep you up at night if you are sensitive to that kind of thing. So I don't recommend sunbathing at night, but I recommend sunbathing from the rise of the sun until about 9 a.m., even earlier. Say 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. is the best time to sunbathe for about 10 minutes. And you want to do that with your head not covered. In other words, you want the light to be on top of your head. You shouldn't be wearing a big hat that blocks out the sun rays. The rays should actually be touching your head and a good portion of the skin on your body if possible. And that's why you only do it for about 10 minutes. And if your skin is sensitive, you could even wear a little bit of suntan lotion, even in the early morning hours. So let's talk about Agni, the digestive fire. It's very important. Agni is our digestive fire, which must be balanced. There is low, excessive, and deficient Agni. When your digestion or your Agni is low, you can't digest your foods and you have indigestion. When it's excessive, think about burnt toast. If your digestion fire is too much, then it burns away all the nutrients before your body can assimilate it. That's the idea. And deficient Agni means that it's somewhere between low and excessive. It's doing a mediocre job. So we want to have a balanced, just right Agni. So if you have excessive or low, deficient Agni, both are equally troublesome and disturb our doshic balance. Agni is responsible for proper digestion, absorption of digested food, assimilation, the creation of digestive enzymes, strength and vitality in the body as a whole, tissue nutrition down to the cellular level, your complexion, your glow, your luster of your skin, the maintenance of your body temperature. Some people always feel cold, some people always feel hot, and some people are just right. So Agni, whenever it's balanced, creates a balanced body temperature. So if you're always cold, probably your digestive fire is a little bit down. If you're always hot, then your digestive fire is pretty stoked. Good Agni produces something called Tejas, which is a subtle fire that's related to Agni. It's the fire of the mind called Tejas, which creates mental clarity, intellect, spiritual discrimination, etc. So Agni, good Agni creates good Tejas, which creates these good mental facilities. It also helps us to digest experiences. Some people will always say, I can't believe how my mother treated me in 1988. They're still traumatized from something that happened many years ago. And I'm not saying that that's not relevant to look at, or that it wasn't traumatic, or that it didn't hurt. I have a lot of personal trauma myself. But undigested experiences, especially trauma and difficulties in life, lower the digestive fire. So we need to find ways to digest our experiences, to digest our emotions. Otherwise, it will affect our digestive fire. The Agni also rules cellular communication, such as macrophages and white blood cells going after other cancerous cells in the body, or going after bacteria or viruses to kill them, etc. So good digestive fire is necessary for good immune response in our body, according to Ayurveda. Also, Agni, whenever it is balanced and strong in a good way, it will create alertness. It'll make us affectionate. It'll make us have enthusiasm for life, courage, and confidence. So stoking the digestive fire does all of these things. There are 4 stages of Agni. There is Sama Agni, which is the goal. Sama Agni is balanced Agni, and it aids in proper digestion of food, which leads to maintenance of healthy dhatus, which are all the tissues of our bodies. There's something called Visama Agni, which is irregular, inconsistent Agni. And what makes this Visama Agni irregular is the Vata, distortion of Vata. And this causes irregularity in digestion of our food, leading to abnormal formation and abnormal nutrition of the dhatus, the tissues of our body. Tissues such as our muscles, our reproductive fluid, etc. Our nerve tissue, our blood, plasma. These are all different forms of tissues in Ayurveda. There's also Manda Agni, which is represented as a slow form of digestion, which is due to a distortion of kapha. And this causes delayed digestion, hence promoting formation of amma. It's easy to have undigested food, which leads to amma. It's the greatest source of amma, and it's the one that we are most in control of. Even organic food will have different kinds of not good stuff in it due to pollution in the air, the soil, the water, etc. So even organic food has some problems, even if it's not sprayed with chemicals. But we do have control over moving our bodies, drinking enough water, eating a balanced amount of food that is not too little or too much. We can control that, which is the biggest and largest factor of amma production. And amma produces all forms of disease in Ayurveda. Finally, we have Tikshna Agni, which is strong or sharp digestive fire, which is caused by a distortion of Pitta. And this digests food very quickly and may result in depletion of the dhatus because the food is digested so quickly, it kind of burns away, like the burnt toast idea we talked about earlier. It burns the food so much that it depletes the nutritional content. It burns away the nutritional value, the minerals, the vitamins, etc., before it's able to be assimilated into the body for total health. And also Tikshna Agni will also create acidity, acid reflux, heartburn, etc. Signs of balanced Agni. As you're going through your Ayurvedic plan and you're doing the different activities, you're eating the right nutrition plan, you're taking the herbal regimen, you are moving your body, you're doing self-care rituals, etc. You should be able to look at your tongue and see that it's a nice, healthy pink color with maybe a slightly transparent white coat on it. Very small coating, not mucousy, but a little bit of a white coating is okay on a pink tongue, just like you see here. If your tongue looks like this before scraping it, then you have a very balanced Agni and very little Ama in your body, which is great. So other signs of balanced Agni are having a normal appetite and healthy hunger, healthy eating patterns. You have a clean tongue with no or a light coating, and that coating would be a very light, almost transparent white color along the center part of the tongue in this area. You can kind of see how our tongue's a little bit pink. It's pink, but there's this whitish color. That's what we're talking about. Good digestion. You're not having acid reflux. You're not feeling heavy after a meal. You're not feeling constipated, which comes to proper and regular elimination. In other words, you should be peeing and you should be pooing. And your poo should be a light brown color in the shape of sausages. It shouldn't be broken up, shouldn't be dry, it shouldn't be loose, it shouldn't be difficult to go to the bathroom. But it should be smooth elimination at least once a day is healthy. If you have courage, if you have balanced Agni, you're able to face life, you're able to face yourself in situations. You're able to respond to life rather than to react and go into fight or flight responses. You love life, you're passionate about life, you have a plan for what's next. That is a sign of balanced Agni. And a calm mind, that is a sign of balanced Agni. So if you want to be a meditator, you have to balance your Agni and reduce Ama in your body. Otherwise, you'll never be able to meditate. That is one of the first rules of the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which is a scripture on Hatha Yoga. In other words, doing different dynamic and static yoga poses. You start the spiritual path in the tradition of Hatha Yoga by doing yogasana, these physical yoga poses, and eating properly. So you can create a proper digestive fire. And then you do other kinds of things like neti also, which we'll describe in our self-care videos. That's cleansing the sinuses with a neti pot, with salt water. So what throws Agni out of balance? What should we try not to do if we want to have balanced Agni? The strength of Agni is impacted by poor diet, improper food combinations, too much or too little food intake, an unsupportive lifestyle. You're always in the run. You don't have any time for yourself, to balance yourself, to come within, to relax. Emotional disturbances, undigested memories and experiences throw Agni out of balance. And even damp, rainy weather and seasonal changes will throw our Agni out of balance. If we can recognize and address imbalances quickly, the effects can be remedied efficiently before they cause a larger, lasting problem in our body. So the last thing I want to talk about is ojas. We want to increase ojas. Ojas is a vital essence within the body. It is what makes us radiantly healthy and gives us the possibility of spiritual realization, or what may facilitate spiritual realization. And ojas is the end product of our digestive process. Basically, there are 7 dhatus or tissues that start with our plasma of our blood. And when we digest food, the digested material that our body uses goes to the intestinal wall into the plasma. And then the plasma goes through all the tissues of our body. And each tissue takes what it needs and assimilates it into that tissue, that dhatu. And the very final tissue that takes nutrition is our reproductive fluid, which is semen for men, which is shukra, and reproductive fluid in women, which is called artava. And within the reproductive fluid of men and women is ojas. And that ojas can become very refined and cause great spiritual power within a human being that is seeking spiritual growth. Anyhow, on a more foundational level or basic level, ojas is the foundation of our immune system, as well as strengthening us to deal with physical or psychic aggression. So responding to difficult situations is easier if we have ojas, because ojas is a spiritualizing, calming essence. Ojas is the basis of our aura. If we have a strong aura, that is our first line of defense in our immune system, is the bioenergetic field, the aura. Any kind of disease has to penetrate the aura before it can get into the cells of our body, so to speak, or our mucous membranes, etc. So the stronger ojas is, the more you understand I am, or who am I. So the stronger your ojas is, the more spiritually refined you will be. When ojas is stronger, ama buildup is lessened and has a difficult time progressing. So when we have a healthy agni, a digestive fire that is supported with herbs and nutritional food that supports our constitutional doshic balance, then ama has a very difficult time building up, and it can't progress because ojas is the nemesis of ama. When ojas is strong, digestion is smooth and unimpeded, health is radiant, emotions are balanced, and mental clarity is experienced. So our goal, the end goal of proper digestion in all of our Ayurvedic plan, is to develop this ojas, the vital essence. What causes ojas depletion? Negative emotions, stress, excessive physical activity, like when people over-exercise at the gym, so that they can look like a model or have six-pack abs, blah, blah, blah. I'm not saying that those goals aren't good. They are good. But anytime you take physical activity to an extreme excess and you're putting strain in your body, you are burning off ojas. Excessive fasting, excessive intermittent fasting burns off ojas. Diets lacking in nutritional value, meaning you're running around, you don't have time to eat, so you're just eating sugary snacks, or you're eating potato chips, or whatever's laying around that is processed snack food, that depletes ojas. Excessive exposure to wind or sun, significant body fluid loss, such as losing a lot of blood or losing a lot of semen for men, meaning if you are, sex is not a bad thing. A lot of people in the yoga world like to be very ascetic. It's not the case. It's just not. But if you are addicted to sex and you're constantly expelling semen, that really does lower your energy level and it depletes ojas. A healthy sex life is not a problem. Wounds that do not heal deplete ojas. Some of us require special wound care, such as diabetic patients, etc. Also, people that, what's it called? Hemophiliacs, people that get cuts that bleed, that depletes ojas pretty quickly. And any form of alcohol or drugs depletes ojas, and excessive use of stimulants like over drinking of coffee or caffeinated teas can deplete ojas. But having 1 or 2 small cups of coffee a day is okay. Yeah. My spiritual master, one of the blessed gifts she gave me one time was little pockets of espresso that she herself was drinking, and she is a bona fide enlightened spiritual being. So she drinks coffee, she's enlightened. I'm going to take that as a sign, and I'm going to keep my coffee. So So how to strengthen and build ojas? We strengthen and build ojas by meditating, by praying, by generating compassion in our hearts for other beings and doing compassionate actions. So it's praying with our hearts and doing with our hands. That builds ojas. Cultivating Agni, the digestive fire, everything we've talked about. A proper doshic diet personalized to you. Dinachara, which is a daily routine, which is recommended to you in your Ayurvedic plan. And I describe each of those elements that may be prescribed to you in subsequent videos in this playlist. And Rituchara, which are seasonal routines. Basic seasonal routines are carrying an umbrella in the spring when it's raining so you don't get wet. In the winter when it's windy, wear a coat, wear a scarf, cover your head. In the winter, you're more likely going to want to have more soups, hot soups to warm your body. Whereas in the heat of summer, when it's 100 degrees outside, you're going to want to have fruit salad or a salad, right? Instead of something hot. You're not going to want to heat up your whole kitchen to make Thanksgiving dinner in the middle of summer, right? In the winter, you want to nourish things. You want to build tissues. It's kapha season. So you want to have more warm foods, more filling foods, etc. And at least in the West, we have holidays like Christmas and Thanksgiving, where you're having those bigger winter type meals. So we change the way we eat, we change the way we dress, and there are different kinds of other things that we change also at the seasons, such as types of yoga we do, types of herbs we may ingest, types of food that are good for us to eat during different seasons. So you should have subsequent, I suggest that people that have had their initial consultation with me should come back at the beginning of each season, because at the cusp of each season, between summer and fall, between fall and winter, between winter and spring, these cusps and seasons, pardon me, are when we develop doshic imbalances. For example, in the spring when flowers are coming up and there's pollen in the air, a lot of people get allergies. Allergies is very easily treated through Ayurveda. It could take away a lot of pain and discomfort. In the winter, it gets cold and windy and wet, possibly with snow, depending on where you're living. And we tend to get colds and flus in the winter, right? So each season has a good thing about it for our dosha and a bad thing about it for our dosha. So every season we want to check in with me or an Ayurvedic consultant or doctor. If you have an Ayurvedic doctor, that's really nice to check in with. And check in each season to make sure your health is going in an optimal direction. Don't wait until you're in absolute pain and you're in the end stages of a disease to treat it. Of course, if you're sick or in pain, come, I want to help. But if we can use Ayurveda as preventative care, that's even better, right? Other things that strengthen and build ojas is cultivating emotional and mental maturity, grounded in universal, non-dogmatic spiritual principles. Learning to respond rather than react to life. Panchakarma, which are 5 purifying actions that we'll talk about in a subsequent video in this playlist. And taking rasayanas, which are special herbal preparations that are Ayurvedic herbal preparations to enliven the body. And also herbal treatments of all sorts, not necessarily the rasayanas. So these all build and strengthen ojas. I invite you to expand your journey with me. If you've not had a yoga class with me or astrology reading, I'd love to serve you in that way also. I do Jyotish astrology readings. You can get certified to do Jyotish readings with me. I teach private Hatha yoga lessons, Ashtanga yoga lessons, and Yin yoga lessons. And also I do Western herbology consultation also. So if you're interested in any of these things, connect with me and I'm happy to help. Thank you so much for trusting me to help you with Ayurveda, and I'll see you in the next video.